Tonight, your dog will choose a sleeping position, and that choice has very little to do with comfort. It has everything to do with you, not your dog's personality, yours. The emotional architecture of your home, the attachment signals you emit without knowing it, and what you need to feel safe inside your own walls. If you want to understand what your dog is really telling you, you are in the right place. Before we get to positions, I want to establish something that took me a long time to fully absorb when I started going deep on the attachment research. Your dog is not choosing where to sleep based on warmth or habit or even proximity to food. They are choosing based on an ongoing real-time assessment of the emotional climate of your home. Dogs have been co-evolving with humans for somewhere between 15 and 40,000 years. In that time, they did not develop the ability to hunt better or run faster or fight harder. They developed something far more specific, an extraordinary sensitivity to human emotional states. They read your cortisol. They read your breath rate. They read the way you move through a room at 10 o'clock at night versus how you moved at 7 in the morning. And they choose their sleeping position in response to what that entire day of reading has told them about the safety and stability of the space. Where your dog sleeps is not a preference, it is a report. Here is where this gets personal. In 2013, a research team led by Siniscalchi at the University of Bari published a paper in PLOS One titled, and I love this title, Like Owner, Like Dog. What they found was that the owner's own attachment profile, whether you tend toward anxious attachment, avoidant attachment, or secure attachment, predicted your dog's proximity-seeking behavior and sleep placement more reliably than the dog's breed, age, or prior history. Let me say that again. Your attachment style, a psychological trait rooted in how safe you felt in your earliest relationships, is showing up in where your dog chooses to sleep tonight. This is not metaphor. The researchers measured it. White and colleagues, writing in the Journal of Veterinary Behavior in 2010, found that dogs whose owners displayed anxious or inconsistent responsiveness in interaction tests showed significantly more unsettled sleep positioning and proximity disruption. The home you have built emotionally, the climate you carry, is the environment your dog is sleeping inside, and their position is how they are coping with it. If that just made you see your relationship with your pet in a completely different way, hit subscribe. We explore the science of the human-pet bond every week and what it reveals about us. Number 1. Your dog sleeps in doorways, and something in you has always found it both touching and slightly unsettling. Here is what I want you to notice. A dog who positions itself across a threshold, between rooms, at the top of the stairs, in the hallway outside your bedroom, is not guarding against external threat. There is no external threat. What they are doing is managing access. They are placing themselves at the point of transition between you and the rest of the world. When I looked at the Van Herwijnen 2021 paper in the journal Behavior on owner caregiving styles and dog-directed parenting, what struck me was the finding that dogs whose owners scored high on anxious caregiving consistently position themselves in transitional spaces rather than settled ones. They were not resting, they were monitoring. The question for you is not why your dog does this. The question is what you have communicated through 1,000 microsignals across 1,000 days that made your dog believe the doorway was the place they needed to be. What transition in your life are you standing in right now, and who are you waiting to see come through? Number 2. Your dog sleeps pressed against your legs, not near you, against you. There is a specific quality to this that I think most owners recognize but rarely interrogate. The dog is not touching you for warmth. They are touching you to know you are still there. Powell and colleagues in their 2021 Frontiers in Veterinary Science paper found that owner attachment style was one of the strongest predictors of treatment outcome in dogs presenting with behavioral anxiety, and that anxiously attached owners were significantly more likely to describe their dogs as requiring constant physical contact during rest. The leg anchor is a co-regulation position. What I mean by that is your dog has learned that the regulation of their own nervous system, their ability to fully rest, depends on continuous sensory confirmation that you are present. That is not a dog behavior. That is a relationship pattern. And the question worth sitting with is this: in the human relationships in your life, have you ever needed that same thing? Have you ever needed someone to stay close enough that you could feel them, just to know that the ground was still solid? Number 3. Your dog retreats to a corner to sleep, and you have probably told yourself, they just like their space. What I want to offer you is a different reading. The corner is the position of maximum environmental control. 3 walls of stimulus eliminated. 1 sightline to manage. In attachment research, we talk about the difference between a secure base and a safe haven. The secure base is the relationship you explore the world from. The safe haven is the place you return to when the world becomes too much. A dog who consistently retreats to a corner to sleep is not choosing solitude. They are constructing a safe haven because the larger environment does not reliably provide one. Sinisculci and colleagues found that dogs paired with avoidantly attached owners who had learned not to rely on closeness as a source of comfort, were significantly more likely to self-regulate through spatial retreat rather than proximity seeking. The owner had unconsciously communicated, do not come too close, do not need too much, and the dog had learned to build their own corners. I find that one of the most quietly heartbreaking findings in this entire body of research, because most avoidantly attached owners did not choose that pattern. It was installed in them early by people who could not show up fully, and now their dog sleeps in corners. Number 4. Your dog sleeps in your bed, on your pillow specifically if they can manage it, and you have let them. I want to be clear. I am not here to tell you this is wrong. What I am here to do is ask what function it serves for you. The research from White and colleagues on owner behavior and attachment security found that owners who scored high on anxious attachment were significantly more likely to share sleep space with their dogs and to describe that contact as emotionally necessary rather than simply convenient. The bed is the most intimate territory in the home. It is where you are most physically vulnerable. And the dog who sleeps there, who you have invited there, who you would feel guilty removing, is providing something that the research identifies clearly as an attachment function. They are regulating your nervous system while you sleep. They are the presence that makes the dark quiet feel survivable. I do not say that with any judgment. Attachment needs are real needs. The question is whether you are aware that this is what is happening. Because when your dog is performing an attachment function for you, they are carrying something. And some dogs carry it gracefully, and some dogs buckle under it. The bed invader is often the dog whose owner, underneath the warmth and the closeness, is quietly terrified of sleeping alone. Number 5. Your dog does not have a sleeping position. They cycle through the house across the night. Your bedroom for an hour, the hallway, the living room, back again. You have assumed they are restless. I want to suggest they are managing. The room rotator is, in my reading of the research, the dog of the ambivalently attached household. Powell et al.'s 2021 paper in Frontiers in Veterinary Science found that dogs in households where the owner's attachment style was inconsistent, warm and responsive at some times, emotionally unavailable or overwhelmed at others, showed significantly higher activity levels during sleep hours and more frequent position and location changes. The dog cannot settle because settling requires a felt sense of reliable safety. And in a home where the emotional climate fluctuates, where some evenings are warm and connected and others are distant and pressured, the dog has learned that no single location holds. They move because the environment they are reading moves. If your dog rotates, the question is not where they should sleep. The question is what would need to be different about the emotional consistency of your home for your dog to trust that one place is enough. Number 6. Your dog sleeps entirely on their own, in their crate, in a dedicated dog bed, in a room you have set aside for them. And you have always felt a little proud of this, and a little bit guilty about it too. The guilt is interesting. The solo nester is typically described as the well-trained, independent dog, and that is often true. But Siniscalchi and colleagues found something worth sitting with. Dogs in homes where owners were classified as securely attached showed either healthy proximity-seeking or confident, independent rest. But the independently resting dogs in that group showed none of the cortisol elevation seen in independently resting dogs from insecure attachment households. What that means is that a dog sleeping alone in a securely attached household is genuinely resting. A dog sleeping alone in an avoidantly attached household is coping. The behavior looks identical from the outside. The internal experience is completely different. The solo nester, then, is not a single story. It is either the most secure dog in this entire list, the dog who has been given enough warmth and enough freedom to rest without needing to monitor, or it is the dog who learned, very early, that needing closeness was not safe. Your dog sleeps alone. The only question is which kind of alone it is. What I want you to take from this is not a diagnosis. It is an invitation. The attachment research, from Siniscalchi's owner mirroring work to White's behavioral security studies to Powell's findings on owner personality and treatment outcomes, converges on a single, somewhat humbling truth. Your dog has been living inside your emotional life in a way that you have never fully reckoned with. The position they sleep in is not a quirk. It is a record. It is what they have concluded after years of reading you more carefully than anyone else in your life probably has, about what kind of safety this home provides and what kind of presence you are. The extraordinary thing is that this is not a verdict. It is information. You can become more consistent. You can notice when you are emotionally flooding the room and make a deliberate choice to regulate before you enter. You can stop expecting your dog to carry your nervous system through the night and start asking, genuinely asking, whether you have given them enough of a secure base that they can rest without monitoring. The Van Herwijnen research on caregiving style found that small, concrete shifts in owner responsiveness, not personality overhauls, just more deliberate attunement, produced measurable changes in dog behavior within weeks. This is not fixed. You are not fixed, and neither is your dog. Tonight, notice where they sleep, and ask yourself what they are trying to tell you about the home you have made. Your dog will go to sleep tonight, and before they do, they will make a calculation. Not consciously. They do not have the architecture for deliberate calculation. But they will read the room. They will read you. They will read the residue of everything that happened in this home today, the tension that passed through it, the warmth that lived in it, the noise and the quiet and the particular emotional texture of you at the end of this day. And then they will choose a place, a doorway, your legs, a corner, the pillow beside yours. That choice is the closest thing to a daily review of your inner life that you will ever receive from another living creature. Not because your dog is wise exactly, but because they have no agenda, no performance, no reason to be anything other than completely honest. The place your dog sleeps is the place your emotional life has made for them. And knowing that, really knowing it, changes what it means to wake up in the morning and find them there. Now that you know where your dog sleeps is a record of the emotional home you have built. Which of the 6 positions did you recognize? And does it reflect the kind of presence you want to be for them? Let us know in the comments. New episodes drop every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday. Make sure you are subscribed to catch the next one. Until then, decode your dog, decode yourself.